Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Brownstone. I'm your host, Dr. Michele, and you are listening to Numbers Don't Lie, where you learn to get out your feelings so you can make the best decisions for yourself, your family, and your business. Well, guys, I have something very special for you. I have a beautiful, talented, intelligent guru that's in the marketing space, okay? And she uses creative outlets to help you get your message out there. I met her and it was like, you know how like you meet somebody, it's like a random thing. It seems random at the time. And then we started talking. I was like, oh my gosh, like, how did I not like have a conversation with you before? It's one of those things. And I was really glad to meet her. And so I want to introduce her to you. I want to welcome to the stage Tai Goodwin.
Hey, hello, hello, hello. I am so excited, Dr. Michele, for this conversation.
Thank you for joining us and educating my audience. I'm very excited to get into what we're talking about today. So let's get on to it.
Okay.
So, Tai, could you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Okay. So I am Tai Goodwin. I'm CEO of That Marketing Team, also known as the Quiz Queen. And, at my heart, I'm a teacher and I teach people how to do marketing. I teach people how to make marketing work for their business. And we also have an agency for people who don't want to do it themselves, where we will actually do your marketing for you. And I've been in this space, believe it or not, for over 20 years. And yes, I did start when I was 12. And that's all I'm going to say about that topic.
I love it.
But I love marketing. I love helping people feel more comfortable with marketing. And most importantly, I love helping people get results from the hard marketing efforts that they put into place.
I love that because I think me and you talked about this before about how many of us are talented or brilliant and have something really to share, but we always say, "Oh, I'm not a salesman. Oh, I don't do marketing." And we just like close it off as if we don't need it.
That's true. And it's so frightening to think about that. There's no way for people to find out about how amazing and brilliant you are without marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you tell, well, I get referrals. Referrals is a form of marketing. All of it is marketing.
Ooh.
Word of mouth. It's a form of marketing. So if you're closing yourself to marketing because it feels scary or it feels overwhelming, or you've been telling yourself the story that I just don't do that, you can release yourself from that story. You can choose something different, because if you're an entrepreneur, you need to learn how to market for your business success.
Okay, so you said that. I want to kind of like touch on it a little more. So how good do we have to become? Is it just like we need to know enough to like navigate certain strategies, or is it like we need to become experts in this?
That's like the question when you're taking have you ever been on a road trip with your parents when you were younger?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like taking forever. How much further? Like I always, okay, this is going to show my age, but remember the Smurfs? And they would be going on a trip with Papa Smurf, and they would be like, how much further, Papa Smurf? Like, it's like, that's what people think about. But here's the reality. You learn what you need to learn until you can make it work,
Mm-hmm.
until you start getting results. Like if you, like, and people do this all the time. When I spent 30 minutes on social media today, did you get any clients? Did you get any leads? No. Well, they need to go back and spend another 30 minutes. Like you do it until you get a result.
That's good.
Unless my clients already know that they don't pay me to tell them, to make them feel good about the crap. I say another word usually, but they don't pay me to make them feel good about the stuff that they're doing if it's not working. And so if you're spending time on social media, but you're not coming away with a lead, a client, a partnership, a phone call, a book sales call, you're doing it wrong. And you can go back until you get one of those things.
Ooh, she is coming to step on toes, okay? But we need it. We totally need it. Okay, so I know you mentioned you use like they know you as a quiz queen, because I think that's how I knew you as well. What are these like creative strategies you use to get your clients out there to a wider audience?
Well, it's visibility is the first thing. But let me back up though, because
Okay.
people have visibility, or they think they have visibility because they post on Facebook. It's like people see
Mm.
me. Yeah, not a lot, not enough people see you. But one of the things before that though, is you have to really be clear about who you're talking to.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because we jump to strategies, and I see people do it all the time. Oh, so and so was on TikTok, and this person said when they went on LinkedIn, they started getting all these leads. But you're missing the foundational pieces. It's not just because they're on TikTok or because they're on LinkedIn there's some structural pieces that they put into place, like they know who they're talking to,
Yeah.
or they have a really clear offer, and their messaging is on point. I'll
Mm-hmm.
give you a quick example. I was working with someone who was so passionate about what she wanted to do. She's like, I want to help other single moms, and I want to, I want to help them with their self-care because they're overworked. And I said, that sounds amazing. Yeah. And my price point is $5,000 for this amazing luxury retreat. I'm like, that's amazing. I said, so tell me about your audience. Like, okay, so these are moms. Yeah. And how much money are they making a year? $50,000. Okay. So you want a single mom who's making $50,000 to spend 10% of her income on a luxury retreat. Everything is wrong with that picture. It
Right.
sounds good,
Mm-hmm.
right? But the way the messaging, the offer, the price point, it's not going to work.
Right.
And I see people putting those kind of constructs in place altogether because they think it's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're sad when it doesn't work, when they haven't thought it through. They're not going to spend 10% of their income.
No.
The
They barely
same.
spend money on themselves.
Well, that's it. And so you got to either change your audience or change your offer or change your pricing.
It's good.
And I see people do that the same thing with business. Well, I'm a virtual assistant and I want, I've got $1,000 package and I'm going to help all these new people that are getting into coaching, but they don't want to do the admin stuff themselves. I'm like, that's great. And how much money are they making each month in their business? Well, they're making $5,000 at least a month. So you want them to spend 1,000 of the 5,000 that they're bringing in on VA services.
That's
And you
20.
think that's, yeah, I mean, and listen, I tell on myself all the time, Michele, like I said, I practice what I teach.
Yeah.
And I was there,
Mm-hmm.
at one point, and we still have a marketing concierge package. It's a $4,500 a month package. And I was like, I'm going to find these coaches that are trying to hit their first six figures, and I'm going to be their agency for $4,500 a month. Yeah, that's not going to work. So now when we're taking a look at our biggest agency package, that $4,500, we're looking at people who are already doing $1 million, between $1 million and $2.5 million, because for them, $4,000 a month is not going to strain them.
Right. That's nothing. Yeah.
But I wasn't thinking that way before. And if you don't know how to think, none of the tactics or strategies that you're listening to, because listen, you can go and Google yourself crazy and get a whole bunch of strategies and tactics, but what they're not teaching you is the principles that actually make the tactics work.
That's good.
So get your foundational pieces in order. Who is your audience? What's the problem that you solve? What's the messaging that's going to connect to those people? And what's the offer that you have? And once you have those foundational pieces, now you can implement all the creative stuff. You can have your quiz. You can use Facebook ads. You can do organic outreach on Facebook. You can do cold emails, all the things you do to get in front of people, but don't do those things until you've got those foundational elements in place.
That is good. Pew, 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 pew. What a fire. Drop the mic. But that is so good because, so many people on that. The downfall about social media and podcasts and the internet is that any and everybody can say any and everything.
And they do.
And they do, unfortunately. And there's no filter. And so, as entrepreneurs, you go out there, you hear someone say, oh, all you got to do is start a podcast. All you got to do is Facebook marketing. All you have to do is this. And it's just like you said, they don't tell you about the 14 foundational steps before. Cause like I'm constantly like honing in on my avatar, like, oh, I think I need to get a little bit more specific, just because it's not always a slice of cake. It can be difficult, especially if you have a niche.
Well, I actually think niching can make it easier, right? Depending on what systems you have in place. But what my comeback to that for a lot of people when they want to give me a whole bunch of advice is, so did that work for you?
I like that.
Right? Because they're like, oh, you just need to start a podcast. Oh, so when you started your podcast, how long did it take before you made money from it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't have a podcast. So why are you telling me to do a podcast? Right? Like, or oh, we don't ever use Facebook ads. Well, did you ever try Facebook ads? Oh, no. But you're going to tell me not to do Facebook ads? Or what they did is they did Facebook ads and they did it horribly wrong because they weren't trained in it. And they literally think that because it's available to them that they can do it. And I tell my clients all day long, you do realize that there are people and companies that have entire jobs where their only job is to do media buying, which is what Facebook ads are. You're buying media attention, you're buying advertisement. That's their whole job.
Yeah.
So for you to now say, just because I have access to it on Facebook, I'm going to do this and I'm going to watch a YouTube video for 30 minutes. And now I'm going to be the expert and I'm going to make it work. You have no real practical training in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cognitive dissonance. And I was just writing about this the other day, like that cognitive dissonance that's, you see the label on a cigarette package that says
Mm-hmm.
warning,
Mm-hmm.
but you pick up the cigarette and smoke anyway.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, they're not talking to me. And we do the same thing with marketing. Okay. I see that all these amazing companies spend millions of dollars a year on marketing, but I don't need to do that. Not me. I'm
That
just
is
so good.
true. So true. Oh, Lordy. Help us, Ty. So can you talk to us? I know we've already mentioned like a couple of different like advertise marketing
Mhm.
outlets. So we talked about like Facebook, as you said, quizzes, we talked about
Yeah.
organic. How does one choose like the best one for them?
Yeah. Well, the first thing is to know where your audience is.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked about two things. I've talked about the tactic, right? For getting people on your email list or getting people in your funnel. But then there's also tactics for getting traffic to that, right? So a
Mm-hmm.
quiz is a tactic, that you can use to get people on your email list, just
Right.
like a webinar or just like, a PDF download, right? That's a lead generation tactic. But then you also have traffic tactics,
Mm-hmm.
because if you do those things, you've got to get traffic to the quiz, to the
True.
opt-in offer, to the podcast. And that's another thing, people, when I say start a podcast, they don't tell you that your main goal then is now to drive traffic to your
Correct.
podcast. So if you weren't driving traffic to your website, just because you have a podcast doesn't mean you're going to get traffic. And so
Right.
there's all these nuances to it. So where do you start? Where's your audience hanging out? Where are they spending their time? And where are they spending their time when they're making decisions to buy?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people jump to Facebook. And one of the things I say all the time is that Facebook, Instagram, all of the internet has made a barrier of entry really low to get into being an entrepreneur,
Mm-hmm.
because people will put up a poster, a flyer, a really amazing photo shoot and say, I have a business.
Yeah, true.
And I'm like, well, where are your clients? Oh, well, I don't have those yet, but I do have a business. Right? I have an amazing tagline, but I don't have any clients. And so what that means is everybody can do it now. So
Yeah.
you got to find a way to stand out. So where are your people? People are all on Facebook, but a lot of people aren't on Facebook looking for solutions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're doing Google searches. We just talked about this last night in one of our programs, that there's a whole world of people that they don't search on Facebook to find answers. They
Right.
search YouTube and they search on Google,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
right? And if you can't be found when somebody does a Google search, guess what? You're missing out on all of those people. And how do you get listed in Google search? It's SEO. But if you're only focused on like Facebook to that limited audience of people, you're missing the opportunities to really grow and scale your business.
That's good.
You are listening to Numbers Don't Lie on Cityscape Radio, where we are local and global.
Did you know that data-driven organizations are 19 times more profitable? 19 times. I know you like the way that sounds. And they also attract and retain customers better too. Well, if you want to see how close you are to being in that number, take the quiz. Head on over to mogulbeginnings.com/data into dollars quiz.
Y'all, you are listening to Tai Goodwin. We are on Numbers Don't Lie with me, Dr. Michele, on KCCR The Brownstone. Follow us on Brownstone Worldwide on Facebook, as well as brownstoneworldwide.com. And while you're on the website, go ahead and check out what's going on. We have Brownstone Living Magazine coming out. We have, you can be a subscriber and you can also be an advertiser. So for those business owners out there that want to reach a wider audience, they have their stats and their reach right on the website. So you'll know if this is your audience that you need to market to. Those are the people that you need to reach. You'll know. So we have some great things coming up. We got a cruise coming up next year, but you got to go to brownstoneworldwide.com to see all the happenings that's happening in our community, as well as the other podcast opportunities that are happening. So it's not just me. There's a plethora of other voices that you may need to hear.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Ty, I want to bring us back in.
Okay.
Because it's like, know where your audience is, know where your people hanging out, know where they're searching. So they have all that stuff. Like, okay, I got it. How do they know? Like, how does the data help them say, like, I need to keep doing more of this? Or maybe I need to pivot from that.
Yeah. So I got a perfect story for you, Dr. Michele.
I'm ready.
So the very first time I started using Facebook ads, I spent about $500 in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And everything was going well until I got that little notification from Facebook that said, hey, we just took $500 out of your account. Now, it didn't say that really, but that's what it felt like, right? When you get that notice that says, hey, we processed your payment. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I shut down my ads because I was in my feelings. They took $500 out of my account. Da-da-da. My coach said, why? And I said, they took $500 out of my account. Now, I was so glad this was before Zoom was a big thing, right? Because I had the head snapping and they took $500 out of my account, and I'm like really livid about it. And he said, but how much money did you make? I go back and I check my data and I'd spent $500. I booked 10 sales calls in 2 weeks. Out of those 10 sales calls, some people bought some low ticket digital products, but the bigger thing was I had sold 2 coaching packages. One for $5,000, one for $3,500.
Girl.
So my feelings were like, oh, they took money out of your account. The numbers, $500 spent, $8,500 made.
Right.
Now, if you gave me $500 and I turned around and gave you $8,500,
I take it every time.
And that's when I understood the power of ads, right? But that's how you know if it's working.
Yeah.
Are you getting the results that you want? I needed clients. I booked 2 clients and in 2 weeks for $8,500. And after that, I never had to wonder about where my next clients were coming from because we had an automated system. I was sending people to a quiz. Yeah. They were taking a quiz. They were booking a call on my calendar. And at that time, it was just me. There was no marketing team at that point. It was just me. I didn't even have an admin. And I literally, Dr. Michele, had to put a webinar in place because my calendar was getting so booked. Yeah. Like we went from having like 5 people a month, maybe book a call, to having 30 people book a call every single month.
Wow.
And that's when I started hitting $10,000 months, $20,000 months in the business consistently. So I looked at the data. When we do this, this works. When we do this, we're getting leads. Like one of our big promises to our clients is that we say we can help you bring in 300 leads every single month.
I love it.
And somebody said, well, you shouldn't promise that. I said, I got receipts.
Ooh.
I've not only done it for me, right? When we did our quiz, we were bringing in 1,400 new leads every single month. I grew my email list, Dr. Michele, from 1,200 people to 1,200 people to 20,000 people, about 19,000 people. We added 1,700 people to that list. 17,000 people to that list in 4 months.
Wow.
Right. Every single month. And it was amazing to have that consistency. And now, like I've got a client right now that's an e-commerce client and she's got a quiz. We're doing Facebook ads for her. And every single month she's getting at least 300 people that are signing up for her quiz. She's not spending $10,000 a month on ads. She's got a consistent budget that she's spending.
Right.
But every single month, she's getting new leads. Her Facebook group is growing. She's getting more sales, right? And so look at the numbers. Are you getting more sales? If your objective is to get more leads, is your email list growing, right? And if you're hitting those numbers, then it's working and you optimize it. But if you're not hitting those numbers, and a real simple way to do this, I said this at the beginning, if you're spending time on social media, but you're not walking away with a lead, a booked sales call, a sale, more people in your group, more people on your email list, it's not working. Because you're not just there for the emojis and the likes.
Right. That's good.
Yeah. So and you can track that every day. That's the real simple thing to do. Okay, I spent an hour on Facebook today. How many conversations did I have? How many people booked a sales call? How many new people did I have in my group? If your answer is 0 after 5 days, please join my Facebook group and learn. It's a free Facebook group, right?
What's the name of the Facebook group?
Marketing for non-marketers.
Y'all come on in.
Right? How simple is that? Marketing for non-marketers. My clients, they're brilliant at what they do. but marketing is not their first language.
Yeah.
Right. And so you come in and we teach you how to think like a marketer, what to focus on as a marketer. We've got free challenges that we do every 6 to 8 weeks that help you fix your funnel if it's broken or if you've never had one. I'm so committed to helping people market, because without it, you're always going to be far behind. If you don't know how it works and you're just copying what you see other people do because it looks good or it sounds good, you will always be behind the curve. And that's not where your talent belongs.
That's good. Tai, you said so much, because I feel like it was one thing you said, and it was like a passing point to you, but I was like, oh, no. We need to go back there a little bit. But she was like, I started getting so many more calls that I was unable to, like, I pivoted to a webinar so I can get more people. And I love that, because sometimes that, to me, that's a data decision. Yeah. Most people probably wouldn't think about it like that, but it's just like, this is what's happening. I need to make a change, or I'm maxed out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it gets even better, Dr. Michele, because let me explain what happened. I was getting people that booked sales calls, but they weren't all qualified.
That's good.
So now you're taking up my time.
Right.
Okay. So what the webinar did was people were taking the quiz and they were so excited, like, yes, let me do what's next.
Yeah.
But they weren't qualified. So the webinar qualified them even more. So now I might be getting less calls, but I'm only getting calls with people who are qualified to go to the next phase. So now my close rates are higher.
Come on, Tai.
So I'm looking at the data, right? 60 people trying to book calls. I can't do 60 calls.
Right.
Let me get all these people into a webinar. Now from there, let me get the 10 people out of that 60 that were really ready.
Right. That's good.
And let me close 50% of those people.
That's good.
Right. So I think it's all data.
I think people think quantity so much. I need more. And I think there is a place for, at the top of your funnel, but everybody at the top is not going to make it down to the bottom. And I think we forget that. It's just like, the more people make a call, the more. I'm like, that may be true, but you're going to cap yourself out. Only got but so many hours in a day. Right. And you're going to burn yourself out trying to do the volume game with something as precious as your time.
Absolutely. And you're right. The volume comes at the top of your funnel when you got all those people, because you do need that, right? There's a 3% conversion rate, right? And even with the webinar rate is conversion rate is 3%. Right. So if you've got 100 people on your webinar, a 3% conversion rate is just 3 people. Right. And I see people get so frustrated because they're like, well, I got all these people on Facebook. 3% is the conversion rate. So if you're not getting enough people in, and that's why your numbers are so important, getting more people in, because 3% is 3% is 3%.
Yep.
Math don't math that way, So you have to get the volume at the very top to filter down into it, so that at the end of the day, that 3% is valuable to you.
That's good.
But you can't keep doing it with 100 people on Facebook who saw all your stuff last month and said no.
Yep.
Or one of the things I recently did was I got rid of a lot of my friends on Facebook because they were my peers.
Yeah.
If you're a digital marketer, why are you following me? I don't need you. I don't need other digital marketers to like my stuff. They're not my ideal client, but we get so gassed up because, they're your friends. Of course, they're going to like what you do. But now you're like, well, I got all these likes, but I'm not getting any sales. Well, none of the people that were liking your stuff were actually potential buyers. They were all your buddies.
Yep. That's good.
Get rid of them. Get rid of them.
That brings that conversation of when you first go into business and you assume that your family and friends are going to support you. But you just said it like, they're usually not your customer, especially if you're doing something high ticket. Yeah. It's like, we cool and all, but not.
Well, yeah. And you got to tell them how to support you.
Yep.
Like, they're not entrepreneurs. They don't know. And if they're not going to buy from you, tell them how to be referrals for you.
That's good.
Give them the language. Hey, listen, who in your network can you introduce me to? Simplest question you can give to your family and friends if you want them to help you.
I like that. Who in your network can you introduce me to? Y'all better write that down. So next time you meet somebody that's not your client, who do they know? That's
absolutely.
Good. I love that. Tai, this has been so good. So any other advice you want to give to entrepreneurs out there? Maybe even to the entrepreneur that thinks they're good at marketing?
Yeah.
What do you say to them? If they don't think.
Well, yeah. And, listen, get professional help. you know. And I know, and that sounds funny when I say it now, but here's the reality of it. You can only go so far.
Mm-hmm.
And the question that you really have to ask yourself, and this is one of our taglines that we say all the time, when you're tired of trying to be the CEO and your marketing department,
Ooh, that's good.
like reach out. Now, if you love being the marketing department and the CEO and it works for you and you can scale that way, keep doing it. I sincerely mean that. However, there are some people that know what got them to their first 6 figures is not going to get them to their next 6 figures or to 7 figures. And if they have to be the CEO and do all the marketing themselves, it's not going to work. It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
And when you get to that place, you need professional support.
Mm-hmm.
And by professional support, let me make this very clear. I do not mean hire a VA yet.
Sorry.
Because your VA doesn't know the strategy. Your VA knows how to do do whatever you tell them to do.
Right. Yep.
And so they're looking at you like, what you want me to do? And you're like, well, I don't know. You're the VA. Yeah, like, yeah, I am the VA. Tell me what to do. But you don't know, they don't know what the strategy is. And that's where we come in. Like we help, what's the strategy? If this is where you want to go, what do you need to have in place? And then we'll either train somebody on your team.
I like
or
that.
we'll do it for you. Right? Because you need to have that strategy in place first so that you're not just out there flying by the seat of your pants. Oh, I'll try TikTok for 2 weeks. Oh, I'll try this for 2 weeks. That's not a strategy. That's a sure way to burn yourself out and be really disappointed with your results. So get the strategy, then get support in implementing it and keep it going.
That's good. About the trying this and that. I was talking to I think she's another marketer, and we're talking about how we a lot of time throw spaghetti on the wall and hoping to see what sticks. And I mean, I think it's a place for testing things out.
Yeah.
But if you are counting on that money, if that has to work out,
yeah,
then we're in trouble. Like if you really need things to work out, you do have to make strategic moves. And that's the same type of things that I offer to my clients. It's like you can't just do things willy-nilly. Like, what does the data say? Let's do more of what's working.
Yeah.
And less of what's not. If you want to test some things out, you can do that on the side, but that can't be your everything or your main. That can't be your strategy.
It can't be a strategy all the time. Marketing is always testing because marketing changes.
Right.
I was talking to a client about that this morning. The reason we work with people in 90-day sprints is because the way you market to somebody during the summer is different than the way you need to market in October. Is different than the way you market for Black Friday. So you have to be mindful of what's happening in those seasons. So you're always testing, not trying, because trying is what people do and they never record anything. Testing is when you take a look at the results. And say, this was better, this was worse, this worked in February, this worked. I had a client the other night, she said, we did something for July because we know that July is usually a low month for us. And I was like, yes. She looked at her data, realized that July is typically a low month. And so they offered some new sales to increase their numbers. That's using the data to help you with your marketing, right? And your positioning. So I love, love, love when I see that happen with my clients.
I love it too. Shoot, you mentioned something about the numbers. I'm all ears.
That's right, because the numbers don't lie.
They don't. So Tai, could you please tell the people where they can find you?
Yeah. Well, if you're looking for me on social media, you can find me at Tai Goodwin. Just type in Tai Goodwin on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. You'll find me there. And if you're looking for some easy and free support, I mentioned the Facebook group that we have, Marketing for Non-Marketers, but we also have an audit. And if you go to thatmarketingteam.com/audit, we give you a free audit where we will take a look at your funnel and tell you where it's broken and what you can do to fix it.
Nice. Come on. She giving out the resources. She got some free stuff. Y'all better jump on this brilliance, okay? This was so great. Thank you so much, Tai, for joining me. Thank you for saying yes. Even educated me. You stepped on my toes, but it was good. I'm going to do some things differently. And I hope those of you that are listening are going to do the same. Like, make an effort to be your best self, to deliver your best everything to your customers and your clients. And thank you again, guys, for listening to Numbers Don't Lie with me, Dr. Michele. You can follow us on brownstoneworldwide.com as well as on Facebook. But you can also follow me, Dr. Michele, on all things Mogul Beginnings. That's MOGUL, Mogul Beginnings. And yes, you can find me. I'm reachable. You can, if you visit me on social media, you'll see all the different things that I have coming up. Tai, thank you again for joining me. And thank you, Brownstone community. You guys